Hi, I'm Leo and welcome to Me. In this video, I'll be going over CSS Media Query. Alright guys, at the end of this tutorial, if you think the video was helpful, please hit the like button, and if you have anything to say, please leave a comment, and if you're new, please consider subscribing. Alright, responsive web design is a design approach that allows a website to be comfortably viewed and used on all manner of devices like your phone, your tablet, your personal computer or desktop computer. Now, in order to achieve this, we have like a four part approach. Now, the first one is the use of flexible layouts. That's the use of your CSS grid in the flex box. Now, the second one is the use of both relative and absolute units where necessary, and the third is the use of flexible images. And the last and most important is the use of CSS Media Query, which is the topic of today's video. Now, in using media queries, the concept here is that all devices get the same HTML source code located at the same URL, but different styles are applied based on the viewport size to rearrange components and optimize usability. So what I'm trying to say here is when we're on a desktop screen, we want these components, which is basically your elements, to be rearranged in a certain way to fit into the desktop screen, and when we are on a mobile device, we want these components to be rearranged differently to suit or to fit into the mobile device. Now, this is basically what we do with the media query. Alright, next we talk about the various ways of inserting media query to our documents. Now, we have about 4 ways of doing this. The first one here is to put the media attribute in your link element. So basically, you go to your link element and you put a media attribute and you put your media type. Now, the next one is putting it in your style element. So here you open up your style element and then you put a media attribute and you put your media type. Now, the third one is the media descriptor portion of an @import declaration. Now, we use this mainly for large or complicated websites. Here you are going to create a separate file, a separate CSS file where you put all your media query conditions and then you link it back to your HTML code. Now, the last and the most commonly used for simple websites is the media descriptor of an @media declaration. So here basically you go to your CSS file and you put your @media, you put the media type and the future, and then you open up your curly braces and you write your CSS code or conditions that you're designing for. Alright, next we'll go to the various media types. Alright, for the media types, we have basically 4 of them. The first is all, which covers everything. The next one is print. This one, the style will be applied when you go to the print page. And we have the screen, which is more like your display, and lastly the speech. Well, of all these, the most commonly used is your all or the screen. Alright, next we move to the media query syntax. Alright, for the media query syntax, you start with your @media, then you put the media type, you put your end, you open up your brackets, and you put your future in the value. Then you open up your curly braces and you write your CSS conditions. Now, by future, I mean the conditions that you're designing for. And let's say you want to change the width, the max width, the min width, basically everything on this page. And for more details, we can use this order book. Now, for the width, it says the width of the display area, which is your viewport, and also min width and max width. And for your height, you have your min height and max height. Now, for your orientation, you have your portrait and landscape. Now, basically portrait is when the height is larger than the width, and your landscape is when the width is larger than your height. So these are basically the conditions that you're designing for. Let's say, for example, when you're browsing with your phone, you'll agree with me, they have your desktop view and your mobile view, and there you also have your portrait and your landscape. So these are conditions that the web developer puts in the media query, so that when you are on a portrait screen, these elements, they will be arranged in a way that it will be appealing to you, and when you are on a landscape view, it will be rearranged again in a way to fit into the screen. So this is more or less what we use the media query for. All right, like my example here, you can see I have my art media and I have my future and the value. Now I'm supposed to put my media type here, but since I am designing for all the media types, so there's no point putting all here and my and. Whenever you leave it this way, the CSS code or the media query knows you're designing for all. Now when I save this and go back to my browser, now you'll notice that as I change the width of my window, you're going to see that different styles will be added to this. Now watch, at some point the another style comes up, you see. Now basically at the point where the style change occurs, that is what we refer to as the breaking point. So the breaking point is the point at which we use media query to introduce a style change. So you can see as at this point, you can see a style change is being introduced. So at every point where we apply a style change, that is the breaking point. Now in using media query, there's something else you need to take note of, and that is that the fact that now if I put the same condition here, the order of rule is very important, because rules later in the style, for example the ones at the lower part of this code, is most likely going to override the ones at the upper part. For example, when I come here and repeat this and put a different value, you will notice that the condition is going to, this one will be applied because it's at the lower part of the code. So that's also something to take note of. Alright guys, this is more like an introduction, because we're not going to be using media query to change the background color of our display or our viewports. Alright, in my next video I'm going to take a project and I'm going to show you what you can do with a media query to design for either your desktop or your mobile view. Alright, thanks for watching guys, and don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you